Good morning. I have my coffee and we're ready for another day. I've done all of my morning mom routines, getting everyone dressed and fed and ready, cleaning the kitchen, getting everyone set with their schoolwork, getting them going for the day, and now I have a minute of kind of peace and quiet before we move into any group work here at the house. So I thought I'd come to you today and talk with you about planning for next year's homeschool year. So we've been homeschooling for a while here. I started homeschooling my oldest son, who's 13, when he was in preschool. And I homeschooled him all the way through until last year. Last year I took a job teaching at a private school and I taught 3rd grade. And my kids attended the private school with me. While we had a lot of fun, we decided to come back home to homeschooling this year. So that means I homeschooled him for kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, not 6th, 7th, and we're coming into 8th. So we're coming up on our 8th year of homeschooling if you don't count all those preschool years. Before I was a homeschool mom, I was a public school teacher. So I've had a lot of fun working with kids over the years, and I really do enjoy the classroom, but most of all, I enjoy homeschooling my own children. All right, planning for the next year of homeschool. How do you go about starting? There are so many great choices out there. It's hard to really limit down what you want to do and set reasonable goals. So here's kind of the thing that I do when I plan for the next homeschool year. The first thing I do is I reflect on this year that we just finished. What were the successes that we had in our homeschool? What curriculum was really engaging and really helped the kids learn? What sort of work did we do that made great memorable projects that we're going to remember for years to come? These are the questions I ask myself. And when I look through all that, I kind of make a list or a pile of the things that I really enjoyed using. The next thing I do is look at our standardized testing scores. We live in the state of Washington, and in the state of Washington, homeschoolers are required to do a standardized test once a year. So we do that in the spring. And as a former teacher, I really enjoy looking at those testing results because they do give you some guidance on where your student is at. I don't believe standardized testing is a be-all, end-all because some students do better on it than others. Some students have a difficulty performing on a standardized test. Others really excel at them. So being a homeschool parent, you kind of know your student and you know what they can do. But I do love seeing where we've had really good success, and then also if I see on that standardized test there's an area of weakness, it gives me some guidance as to what I might add in next year. Maybe I look and I think, oh my goodness, spelling was really low this year on the standardized test. Well, we didn't really focus on that, so maybe next year I might want to increase my focus on that topic, just as an example. But you could really do that with any of the subjects. So we've looked at what worked for last year, what our standardized testing results were, or just kind of your results for your grading for the year, what subjects were your kids strong in. Look at all of those things. Where are they strong and where do they need a little bit more growth? And the great thing with homeschool is you can customize that. So if you see an area that you really want to work on, you have the freedom to do that. You can double down on it. You can apply more time to it. You can choose a different curriculum. You can do all the things that you need to do to make that subject stronger. You can even repeat something that you've already done to just firm up the knowledge in that so that your student is ready to go on and to succeed in that area. To remember, in education, we're kind of building a staircase where we're trying to get to a goal at the top. And if you have part of your staircase that's missing, if there's pieces of knowledge missing for your student, they're going to have a hard time making that jump to those higher concepts and to the bigger challenges they're going to face in college or trade school or their career or whatever they choose to do. So it's really important that we make sure that the foundation that we're laying as we homeschool through elementary, middle school, and high school are really strong foundations, and that if there is a question of lack of knowledge, that we really do address that early on so that we don't have a problem later. That being said, the next thing I think about when I'm choosing curriculum for my family is what is our family schedule and our family culture like. Every family is different. There are some families where the students are more active than others. There are some families where there is only one child, so the parent is only schooling one grade. They might be able to focus in and do a lot of one-on-one attention with that one student. Now there's other families that are bigger. Maybe they have 4, 5, 6 children, all at different grade levels. How are you as a parent going to address all of those grade levels? What's the best course of action for you? And what's the best course of action for you is probably not the same as what is the best course of action for everyone around you, because everyone's family is different. Everyone's students are different, and God made each of us with different gifts as parents and as students. And when we recognize those gifts and choose things based upon them instead of trying to force ourselves into a mold of doing what someone else is doing, I think that's when we have our best success with homeschool, and we also start to find the joy in homeschool. When we're trying to force a curriculum or a schedule that doesn't work for our family because maybe we read about it or it sounded great at a homeschool conference or on a blog and you were inspired, there's nothing wrong with being inspired by others, but it is very important to recognize that your family is unique and different, and you're going to have to do what works for you. So when I look at that, I say, okay, I have 4 kids. They are all in different grades. So I'm going to be homeschooling kindergarten, 4th grade, 6th grade, and 8th grade next year. I'm going to think in my head, all right, what do these kids need from me? What do I need to provide for them to be successful in those grades? And how can I do that in a way that kind of promotes peace and harmony and here in the house and challenges them academically and also makes learning fun where possible? I don't believe that learning has to be fun all the time. I know some people really do adhere to that, but I think there's also a discipline in learning where we learn to try and we learn to work hard in certain areas, and that the effort we put into that is going to be beneficial later when we work jobs, and we do need to apply ourselves and work hard to succeed and to achieve a goal. For us next year, we're going to be doing grade level curriculums for all the kids, and we will be meeting as a family to do certain subjects together, which is what we've kind of worked out as something that works for our schedule over the years. I teach history, Bible, and art, and we do singing all together, and we're probably singing like memory songs or something educational that's going to help them learn. And we do that all together. We also might watch a documentary or do something that applies to a field trip or a vacation that we're going on. So all those things we do together. Now the kids individually do their math and all the science and health and history and writing, grammar, all that they do at grade level. And I'll come alongside them and support them in that. So those are the things that I'm planning for next year. Now, once I've decided that's what I want to do, I need to look at the different curriculums that are available. And there are really a lot of curriculums. It can be overwhelming. But what I would say is to read samples online. If you can, go to a homeschool bookstore. There's one in the Seattle area called Homeschool Potpourri. And it's a used bookstore where you can go and look at a lot of variety of homeschool books in one place. And they're pretty affordable to purchase. There's also homeschool conferences. Now this year with the virus, that's not really going to be an option to go in person, but you can look online at different publishers and distributors' materials and see what you think might work for your child. Then once you buy the curriculum, you kind of discover the real key to it is just consistently doing it every single day. There's no holy grail of curriculum or magic bullet when it comes to teaching people. Just gentle, patient consistency every day. It leads to skill growth. Whether you're doing a classical curriculum where you're memorizing and diagramming sentences, or a traditional private school curriculum at home like Bob Jones or Rebecca, the real key is just using it every single day and being there as a parent to support them. A child that has the loving support of a parent is going to be successful in what they do because the parent is there to show them that it is important to them and that they love them. And those are the most important things. So I don't believe there's any one specific curriculum that is perfect for doing homeschool. And I think that if you just decide upon something that you think works for you and do your best at it, it will work for your family. Now, when you're getting ready to buy homeschool curriculum, you might realize it can be very expensive. So it's good before you buy for the year to get out everything you have and look at what you have from previous children or previous years. Is there anything in there that you would like to use? Is there anything that can be reused or taught as a group to prevent having to purchase too much new stuff? Then, once you've established that, decide on the things that you absolutely need to purchase for the coming year. You're going to need a grade level math curriculum. You're going to need some sort of grade level writing, reading, and grammar curriculum. So make sure to budget those in first. Then look at what you're spending. I think people who don't homeschool would be surprised to see how expensive homeschool can be or how cheap it can be. It really depends on the family. With 4 kids in homeschool, we generally budget between $3,000 and $5,000 a year to pay for curriculums and co-ops and everything else that go into it, lessons. So on top of homeschooling here at home, we go to a co-op, which I really enjoy, and I'll share more about that later. But look at the budget and see where you're at and see if you can afford the things that you want and set priorities and get the things that your kids need most first, and then add the enrichment in later. Once you've done all of that, order your curriculum before the school year starts. Try to get your curriculum in late spring, early summer. That way you as a parent can read over it and know what the school year entails. You need to be familiar with it if you're going to be able to teach it to your children. You need to know the scope and the sequence, and if there's any extra supplies needed, or if you need to do any extra reading. As your kids get into a higher grade level, often there's things you haven't learned since you were their age, so maybe you need to do a little research and a little refresh. Use summer as that time. Summer is also a great time as a homeschool parent to read enriching books that are encouraging. Sally Clarkson has a lot of really good ones about being a homeschool parent and using great literature in homeschool, but there's so many books out there to encourage the homeschool parent. Well, that's it from here. Those are some of the questions I ask myself when I'm getting ready to homeschool. I know I have a lot of tabs up on the browser of my computer of homeschool curriculum I'm looking at for next year as I plan, and all of the tabs are pulled out of curriculum from previous years so that I can make sure to use what I already have. Never underestimate the importance of daily practice. Even something as simple as drilling flashcards for memorization of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division cards can be really valuable to your student later on. When we build a firm foundation in general core knowledge, they do so much better when they get to the more challenging subjects. And make sure to take this time of planning as a time to infuse your day with the things that are important to you. I want my children to be knowledgeable of God and Bible and history, so I make sure to plan that in every day. And I love that homeschooling gives me the freedom to do that. I'm not tied to someone else's schedule or someone else's curriculum or goals. I feel really grateful to have the freedom to choose what my children do and to try to help shape them into the people that they were meant to become. Well, I hope you have a great day, and I hope this video was helpful in setting priorities for planning your homeschool year. If you're interested in more videos about homeschooling, mom life, DIYs, budget-friendly things, and this year's no-spend year, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Goodbye.